this morning when I woke.
My wife, when she gets nervous, gets really fidgety and like talks a lot and blurts out stuff, and then she's got to eat, and she does all this stuff to drive me insane. Anytime a movie's really good, I'm kind of pretty. I'm just saying, it's a bill. It's looking at Bitcoin. Fucking love you people. You know how I am. I can't help myself. I'm just a big baby. See, it is what it is. Crow 2 node's already been up, fool. Onward. Ugh. Okay, so I like the slow grow. Slow and easy wins the race. Just ask your wife. I'm a humble, ignorant, silly looking old guy on YouTube's. I'll start up a crypto commune somewhere in the Bahamas. I'm like, no, man, this is me. I call it how I see it. I don't fucking change for anybody. Oh boy, that's a lot of reading. I went big again in Cardano, folks. I don't want to give half of what I have to the government to just so they can send it off for some gender study in Pakistan. And I'm tired of smiling. Ada loves you. I love you. We're fewer in numbers, but our muscle is much, much bigger. I think I'm a little more emotional and a little more just me. You and your wife will love it. Yes, your wife too. It's about jujitsu. The day when, you could have gotten like 408,000 ADA for 1 Bitcoin. And it was so stupid, and I just didn't do it. And I've been kicking myself ever since. Getting the kick in the pants. My love is with Cardano and everything associated with it. My wife said crow squawk. I thought it was funny. And I'm generating, 1,000 or 1,500 ADA a month in staking rewards. And it ends up being worth like $3. Is that like $6,000 a month in income? And I'm like, yeah. I've been working on this new website. This is cryptocrow.io, and I'm going to be adding a lot of stuff to this website, but ultimately it's going to have everything that I do. And I've been working on this pretty much through the day yesterday while I was doing some trading. I went big again in Cardano, folks, and I talked about this. I kind of teased about it a bit on my Twitter feed. I'm not going to lie, I was shaky. I probably spent, I would say 75%, maybe 70% of my personal Ethereum that I have basically generated through like paid content and such. And, because here's the thing, I'm not down on Ethereum. I'm not down on Ethereum. I just think Cardano is going to be significantly better across the board. For a lot of you guys that, maybe you're not that familiar with me in my history with Cardano, this is a video. This is from December 13th, 2017. As you can see, at the time, Cardano was only 13 cents. This is my first video talking about Cardano and why I loved the project. Even though back then, it really wasn't much. It was the idea for Cardano. It was the vision. It was the, back then, I'll play a little bit of this.
Since I first got into crypto trading and crypto mining and everything else, I've just always had this feeling like I've just been missing the boat. I didn't get into Ethereum when it was 13 cents. I didn't get into Bitcoin years ago when it was 13 cents. And I missed a lot of them because I came into the picture relatively late to the game. I found the one that I absolutely, truly believe in, and you're going to hear a lot more about from me over the coming weeks and months. I bought 15,000 coins last night of this cryptocurrency. And I am an absolute firm believer. The coin I'm talking about is Cardano, ADA. There's so many different layers to this currency. There's 3 different groups, fundamental groups, developing this currency over time. And they're all rock stars. Like the former CEO of Ethereum is in this input-output group that's working on Cardano. I mean, that alone, I don't need to say anything else. Okay. I am not letting this pass me by. I was up late reading about Cardano, and I'm just super excited about what's to come with this platform. The scientific minds that are in this thing, the roadmap. I mean, it's never ending. And there are so many brilliant people working on this, from like the top Ivy League schools all over the world, the top, Oxford, Harvard, you name it, PhD. Like, I mean, it's a bunch of freaking brains. It's like having a bunch of Einsteins working on the latest and greatest cryptocurrency. When I first got into cryptocurrency, it's the disruption of all of these major companies, the disruption of the way we do things as a society. That's what really drew me to the concept of cryptocurrency to begin with. It's this revolution of disruption that I love, changing the way we think, the way we work, the way we interact with different services and products and so forth and so on. Letting the people kind of dictate. It's like Cardano. If you if you have a stake in the currency and you're staking that currency and you're placing your vote, it's letting the people decide what happens to the finance system. It's not being dictated by some 80-year-old multi-trillionaire in some smoke-filled office somewhere. I picture I picture these, like the top 1%. That's what this is about. This isn't necessarily a review, but it's just kind of sharing my whole kind of outlook and my philosophy on cryptocurrency.
The title of it is Why I Bought 15,000 Cryptocurrency Cardano. And the reason why this gets me a little fused up is because back then, that was a big deal for me. And it's crazy how things have changed in the last 3 years and how they continue to change. But the fact that I bought 15,000 ADA back then at 13 cents was a huge deal, because as you'll notice in this video, I was working out of a mortgage office at the time because I was in the process of building up a new branch office. Again, when I started on YouTube, I didn't start it thinking it was going to become my gig, my thing, what I did, researching crypto, talking about them, doing paid content, that sort of thing. That wasn't even a thought. That was not anything. I started this because, and you'll notice I'm talking quietly because I have employees working outside my office. So I'm like trying to be quiet and just kind of talk about what I'm doing. I watched this the other night and I shared this on my Twitter feed, and I was like, wow, it kind of hits me a little bit. Every time I make a significant investment into Cardano, I'm shaky. And I kid you not, for any of you guys that are out there that have ever fought, like if you've ever fought like an MMA fight or something like that, it's such a similar situation. Buying a few bucks here and there, not a big deal. But when you're trading a lot, it's like you get rattled with nerves and adrenaline. I get frantic, I get emotional, I get all sorts of things. And then as soon as you walk into the cage, you're so nervous. But as soon as that door closes, as soon as your limit order is clicked and it's done, it's like peace. So much of the nerves and all of that stuff goes away, and it's a similar situation, honestly, to fighting in a way, because you start off with so much and you're scared and you're nervous and you're like, I hope I did the right thing. But I tell you what, when that order filled, I just felt complete. I felt like I reached a goal that I set for myself 3 years ago. I'm glad I did. I mean, for better or worse, I truly believe that Cardano is going to take the world, not just this country, not just Africa, not just, I believe that Cardano is going to take the world by storm post Goguen. Crow Swap. I partnered with a company called DexKit, and it launched. We launched it. So I have crowswap.com. And there's a bunch of different stuff. You can pick your pools, add liquidity, you connect your MetaMask, and you can basically just swap your tokens for something else you want. And it just lets you basically swap one coin for another. And then there's a little transaction fee, which you can generally structure, you can change. It should be pretty cool and it's fun, and I'm gonna get like a cut of the volume that goes through, and it's just a heck of a lot easier than launching my own exchange, let me tell you that. And at some point in the future, I'll actually have kind of a bigger tutorial explaining all the little details and nuances But I just wanted to let everybody know crowswap.com is real if you start seeing links around about it. If you're trading ERC20 tokens, you better start doing it on CrowSwap, because I can see BitBoy's volume on his and he can see mine. I need some spikes. I need to say, hey, BitBoy, your 350,000 people ain't got squat on my 96,000, and I want to show them what's up. Just bought this one, Generations, the History of America's Future, from 1584 to 2069. The gist of the book is basically about historical cycles and how society overall has basically altered and changed based off of generation cycles through time. And through the observation and understanding of these cycles, we're able to predict what's going to happen in the future. This book was written in 1991. Let's just say that I truly believe there's a hell of a lot more to what's going on today than what the majority see. You know, just my search for truth. And that's basically what this is, and I thought I'd share it. This is another book, The Fourth Turning, an American Prophecy, what the cycles of history tell us about America's next rendezvous with destiny. And then I bought this one. This is called A Nefarious Plot, and this is basically a book, as I understand it, written from the perspective of somebody who is pulling all the strings on a global level, behind the shadows. It's written from their perspective, what their agenda is, why, how they're doing it. And it just sounds like a fun but potentially very informative book to read. Republican versus Democrat, the haves versus the have-nots, left versus right, us versus them. We believe these are the divisions that are threatening to tear America apart. But what if the culprit isn't a political ideology or a class of people, but a puppet master? He's been manipulating us for centuries, and now he's brought us to the brink of implosion. It would take a special kind of sinister to hatch such a nefarious plot against our civilization. Who or what would be capable of such a conspiracy? All there is to go on is the cryptic message, you'll never guess my name. You know, a lot of you guys know, I know Mark Moss. He's a super intelligent guy, super nice guy, super helpful guy. When I first met him, I just thought he was just a surfer dude. You know what I mean? I didn't know anything about him at the time, and come to find out, the guy's just fantastic. He has recently moved to Puerto Rico. He was originally living in California, which we all know, they're just being decimated with taxes and all kinds of crazy stuff. And I was watching a bunch of different videos on what's going on. And then I saw Mark Moss, and I started sending him messages, and we started chatting, and basically, moving to Puerto Rico is basically about the only place you can move right now through something I think called Act 60. You don't have to renounce your U.S. citizenship, as I understand it. And you have to do some different things. You have to make some charitable donations, and you have to do some paperwork and different things. Puerto Rico is ultimately like a tax haven for folks. And you moving to Puerto Rico, basically it allows the majority. Now, I don't think it works for everybody, but for like people like YouTubers, people who do crypto investments, things like that, you basically have a straight 4% income tax and 0% capital gains tax. Why is that such a big deal? All taxes are about to go up in a big way. And when you mix that in with all of the lockdowns and just all of the other crazy stuff going on, it scares me. Capital gains tax rate for top earners, $1 million or more of income, 39.6%. So let's just say you invested in a whole bunch of crypto and you're sitting on it and you happen to make $1 million and $5. I don't know. You're basically going to cough up almost half of that to the government. Why is the government so heartily taxing everybody when it's printed more money than they'll probably ever see in taxation? Out of thin air, I'm going to look up a way to launch a decentralized podcast, like not even video, just audio. There's so much that I want to be able to say. I would love to be able to speak my mind freely. It's just not possible anymore. It's just not possible. There's only one narrative allowed in anywhere. One narrative, one idea, one anything that's allowed to be spoken. I'm going to show you a new tool too. Trade the Chain. This is sick. Basically what this is it's Twitter data being aggregated into a sentiment for each project. That is insanely useful. It shows the trading ranges, relative tweet volume, relative trading volume. It shows you everything. Moon boys out there trying to pump Ethereum to $10,000 in a day or whatever. It's like, I get it, because a lot of us YouTubers, we're making Ethereum. We're not making Bitcoin as much anymore. Why? Because a lot of the projects that are paying us for paid segments, features, and so forth, they're paying in Ethereum. So many of us YouTubers out here are basically accumulating Ethereum passively. So all of us want to see Ethereum do well. So don't kid yourself. Every time you watch some Ethereum-based YouTuber talk about Ethereum to the moon, it's probably because they have an abundance of it they've made from selling paid content. I'm just being very transparent with you. I've accumulated a lot, which is how I've put so much into Cardano recently, because my belief and my faith is all in Cardano. And I'm not saying I don't hold Ethereum, because I do. I just made more for the paid feature I'm going to do today in this video. But that's my point. It's not as much about Bitcoin as it was in the last market. Now a lot of the money is coming from these DeFi applications that are generating Ethereum and fees and swap fees and so forth. And then they're using that to pay influencers, YouTubers, educators, and so forth. And no, not just, I'm talking all of them. All of us YouTubers right now are accumulating Ethereum through paid content. All of them. There's not anyone in particular. I do. Everybody. All these guys do. The only difference is some of us are putting a lot of that Ethereum into Cardano instead of holding it. The ones that are deciding to hold it are the ones putting out all these videos. And look, I'm doing the same thing. I'm doing the same thing for Cardano, so I'm not faulting anybody. I don't want you guys to think that I'm trying to put anyone down. I'm not. Some people believe in Ethereum more than they believe in Cardano. That's entirely their prerogative. That's up to them. But those are also the ones that you're seeing doing videos about how Ethereum's going to reach, crazy amounts of money, yada, yada, yada. But that's the secret behind that. It's because they're all generating Ethereum for paid content. So, what would you do if you believed that Ethereum was going to, do something? I don't know. But that's... I get Ethereum, but I turn it into Cardano because I believe in Cardano more long term. I see a lot of moon boy stuff associated with Ethereum. I get that basically people have been accumulating Ethereum over the bear market, and it's been getting a lot of attention pretty much all over the place, and primarily because of DeFi. To me, the question is, how much about Ethereum do these institutions even truly understand? Bitcoin is easy. Bitcoin, it's like, it's digital gold. What I see happening is, when you're talking about a project like Cardano that answers a lot of the problems that have been posed by Ethereum and the shaky kind of development cycles associated with Ethereum, and everything associated with Ethereum 2.0, what they're basically trying to claim is going to fix a lot of the problems associated with the current infrastructure. Ask just about any developer of known renown on any level, and they all agree Ethereum 2.0 is just not going to be what everybody believes it's going to be, because they're aware of a lot of the problems. The general consensus, though, amongst developers is that Ethereum 2 is not going to be all it's cracked up to be. And if it's not, a lot of people are going to be looking to alternatives. I've also seen comments and questions online relating to, Cardano would do really well if it just had developers working on applications for it, but it can't because of Goguen not being launched yet. That's a fallacy. There are a lot, I'm sure there are well over 100 different development projects in the works right now that are preparing to launch with Goguen, because you can develop these applications now, test them with Plutus Playground. There are a lot of different ways to test applications now. That's a moot point because that's already happening. We already know of many projects that are basically announcing the fact that they're going to be migrating over to Cardano. What kills me is that we don't even know 5% of what's currently being developed to launch on Cardano post Goguen. Like, we don't even know a tiny little fraction. All we know about are some of the bigger named partnerships that have been established and come out publicly. There's so much more that the public has no idea about. I truly believe that everything that I do as it relates to Cardano is playing a significant role in the history of the future. I truly believe that. I believe that in my gut. I believe that with every ounce of me, which is one of the reasons why I have done everything I've done for the last 3 years. And I believe that now is the time that a lot of us are going to start really seeing the fruits of our investment, our risk, our labor. And we're all playing a significant role in truly the decentralization of the future of finance, of just about everything and anything you could think of. Because if you look at things like Ethereum and all of these other platforms, and you look at all the applications that are being developed on them, what has Cardano proven to do time and time again to this date? They have shown that they are taking the ideas of yesterday and perfecting them as part of the blockchain of tomorrow. There's some big stuff that's going to pop off at the end of this month, folks. That's one of the reasons why ADA's pumping so hard. It's not even really pumping that hard. It's just been very solidly moving up. Here's the thing. When you think about a new blockchain technology being developed by the biggest minds all over the place, and you know what they've been doing, Cardano has been funding the education of people throughout Africa and especially Ethiopia so that they can adopt this blockchain technology and build on it as it is needed for their needs. Ultimately, they're wanting to become the grand poobah currency, technology, whatever of Africa, and they're starting with Ethiopia. I don't really even know, like, it's hard for me to grasp the magnitude of this concept because we're so used to seeing these little shit tokens that come out. You can do this little thing or that little thing, and this is our utility and that's our utility, and all that stuff is fine and dandy. But when you talk about an infrastructured blockchain that's ultimately looking to kind of lay down a new foundation for this technological era throughout an entire country, let alone continent, I don't even know how to break it down. But like, let's put this into perspective. People of Ethiopia, total population of Ethiopia, 114 million people. Can you imagine what even a fraction of that could mean for the use case and adoption for this new blockchain that's preparing to launch Goguen, that's preparing to launch smart contracts? Can you even fathom what that means to market capitalization of something like this? There's nothing else like this happening with any other blockchain anywhere. Do you get it? When I tell people about Cardano and I try to explain to them the significance of what's being developed and how it's being issued and integrated, it's people don't get. I mean, the people that get it are the ones that are setting the price up to like 65 cents as we speak, right? Because they're out of the 5,000 people that actually watched this whole interview, they're like, oh, I get it. And when the final big announcements start popping off at the end of this month, they want to be in before that pump.
Know something now I didn't before.